Hello? Is anyone out there? If anyone's listening to this, I need you to listen to my words wisely. Don't join Team Red. Team Fortress 2 was never meant to be scary. It's supposed to be a goofy shooter where teams fight over absolutely nothing. But there's an SFM horror series that completely ruins that idea. Because in this version, whenever you join Team Red and see what happens inside that base, you're never looking at TF2 the same way again. Basically, we're going to be looking through the eyes or point of view of a mercenary who was part of Team Blue but was convinced to join Team Red. Now, everything seems normal at first, like switching sides, but here's the twist. Once inside Red's base, hallways are empty and too quiet. Lights flicker, mercs look distorted or lifeless, and something stalks him. Which begs the question, what really is Team Red? So it starts off with Redman Mand, the founder and CEO of Red, short for Reliable Excavation Demolition. And it seems like he's trying to recruit troops and so that they can aid him in the war against his brother. And he's willing to put out big bucks to make sure anyone that joins becomes rich, saying join now, get red, get rich. But what follows will surprise you. It says do not sign this contract. Like I said before, we're following someone that switched over from blue to red. And then he goes on to say, to anyone that's seeing this, his promises are very tempting, but you'll lose everything in return. You don't know me yet, but here's our picture together, all of us. See yourself in your new, shiny gear? You'll be stuck with it for eternity, fighting in an endless war, enduring the mental toll of cloning and the constant cycle of dying and respawning. Some of us had trouble coping with it. Dr. Ludwig tried to help as much as he could, but he lost himself in the process. It took me 20 years to build a machine to broadcast this message back in time. Most of you went mad. Beyond salvation, the promises of new clothes and weapons is all you look forward to. I don't know if I can escape this hell, but you can definitely avoid it. So for the love of God, don't sign Redman's contract. In the next episode, it looks like Redman's offer of money was just too much for the mercenary to turn down, so much that he didn't even listen to the message from the future warning him. It's also interesting is what they show next, which is the Builders League United training rules, which is in chapter Propaganda, part 12, where they say, remember, staying loyal to the blue man will always be rewarded. Never forget our favorite slogan, Redman is your enemy. By showing off a creepy screen of Redmond, which is inspired by the end screen of Adult Swim, where it'll say the dawn is your enemy because that's the time Adult Swim ends. But after that, the man from the future begins talking again, saying, you didn't all listen to me. What is it, doubt? Greed? Did my first message even reach anyone? Or maybe my machine isn't as accurate as I thought. Hopefully it doesn't broadcast to a random folk. Watch what happened to it yesterday.
Out of my way! Out of my way! Go!
So after his previous broadcast message warning them, these clones came out of nowhere and started trying to mess with the machine. A suspicious breakout is going on in Red, and even Dr. Ludwig has just gotten back to normal. Since they're clones, a lot of people are trusting them, but Tavish isn't at all. He's swearing that they're devils and he claims that he can sense it. Now this is when you think about how the game works and the story start to mess with your mind. Dr. Ludwig theorizes that this outbreak could be the cause of a defect in the cloning process. Red has been doing too much cloning in a short amount of time, which overworks the machine, and they'll have to avoid fighting for a few days to let it cool down. And then after that, the doctor says, we're gonna try to save Soldier and Scout. May God give them the patience they need and protect us. And then at about 1 minute and 31 seconds in, you have to pause fast enough to catch it, but it says this right here. Give me peace, give me mercy, give me peace. Why do you keep me alive? Please, I'm in agony. My legs, please give me peace. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that's the scout talking from earlier. If you slow it down, you could see that the scout was on its legs and using it all weird and stuff. And even Soldier was there, but nothing seemed wrong with his legs, except the fact that he's missing one and the other is just backwards. And then it goes back to the guy who's still reaching out to the past, saying, "This is what you'll bring onto yourself if you don't listen to me. I will contact you again with the plan to save what you can save." Next episode, it focuses on the engineer who says he's finally got in contact with Spy, and base communication has been rough after they started broadcasting to their old selves with the Traveler. It's causing some interference with some electronics and God knows what else. The others have been asking me what my machine is for and why am I so protective of it. Even Dr. Ludwig is so curious of it, almost obsessed. And I have to point out the fact that if you notice that his eyes glitched, he is in fact a clone who for some reason are all infatuated and want something to do with this machine. But the engineer doesn't have this knowledge that we have, and so at the end of the day, he doesn't question Dr. Ludwig and can't blame him because he is a man of science. But he still says, "I lied to them. I'm keeping the real use to just our old selves and I." There even is a communication network that tracks who and what is coming in and out of the base. And this probably became mandatory as they say those ghouls, as they're talking about the clones, have gotten more aggressive. Their mangled bodies charge at us without hesitation, guns drawn and shooting wildly. We're forced to shoot back despite our initial plan to avoid bloodshed. But this is bad because the more clones they kill, the more they mutate, and a few newer ones can even talk now. Snipers even said that he's seen clones shooting each other at night. How are we supposed to get Scout and Soldier back if they do that? The cloning machine will never cool down at this rate. He even starts to wonder if they're getting themselves killed so that they can mutate more. And even he's thought that them being smart terrifies him. So Red is basically in a huge civil war at this point between these clones, and they even set up turrets for the blind spots in the empty halls so that no one can get in from anywhere to their machine places and their meeting rooms. These sentries go for everyone and anyone. There's no picking or choosing because you can't tell the difference between a clone. So before anyone comes in, they have to let the engineer know or they're gonna get shot up. And then after explaining all of that, there's this goofy moment where the engineer is like, "Oh shoot, did I warn Spy about all of this? Oh no." And so Spy gets shot up, and as the engineer comes to apologize and everything, "Oh, I made a mistake," Spy gives him his last dying words. And this was another thing that just showed up on the screen for like a millisecond, but it says right here, "Why did you do this to me? Why did your machine shoot me? Were you plotting to get rid of me all along? It's okay. I forgive you. I've seen all the things waiting outside in the dark coming from the hills. You probably haven't met those ones yet. I prefer this and than facing them. You did me a favor. Thank you. I wish I would never respawn." And after checking the spy's intel that he's gotten on the clones, he determines that Tavish is correct about them. They are devils and demons. And when Tavish gets this information, he's like, "I told all you bleating idiots, these things are devils." But no one listens to the drunk Cyclops. I've been telling ya, the bloody Ludwig isn't. And before he can say he isn't one of us, he gets shot, and Dr. Ludwig gets shot after he shots him, and then turns out he was a clone the whole time. Now they're wondering as they're looking at his dead body, what happened to the real Doc? Before the episode ends, it shows Engineer kind of feeling guilty about Spy's death and how he may have caused it. And also he's hoping that the doctor is still alive because he's so afraid about what's about to happen next. Because he also knows that there are infiltrators right now within Red that are waiting to shoot him in the back. Next episode takes place in the cloning machine room that night, and it turns out after it was shut down, one of the clones have gotten into the room and now have started printing clones again. Keep in mind right now that it's supposed to be on cooldown, as you can see from the warnings. But while this is all going on the red side, we're finally shown the point of view of what's going on the blue side. Since red has been fighting their own internal war, no one's contesting blue, and it seems like they've been conquering a lot of territory. So much territory that the war general is congratulating the CEO. But here's the problem. Even though they're taking over all this territory, the machines, the millions of dollars that they put into this are kind of going to waste. And he even starts to get into an argument with the CEO saying, why are my tanks out there? I gotta tell the investors some reason, give them a good reason on why they're spending all this money still. What are we out there shooting ghosts? If they're gonna keep bringing in all this money, they need a reason on why they need more money. So they need to find red. But to be honest, the CEO doesn't care about the investors getting their data, he just cares that he's winning against his brother. Back on the red side, their war is just getting started. Not only are they back to broadcasting with the past again, but they reveal that Tavish actually, thankfully, is not dead. In my panic, I didn't realize he was just knocked out. This helmet saved his life, thank God. But the bad news is the clones took out their power generator, shutting off their electricity, which was a scheme to force them to come outside. And although this was a very smart tactic, as it kind of lowered their spirits and filled them all with fear, all it took was heavy to lift their spirits and get them full of adrenaline. And they all ran outside to turn back on the generator and got into a huge confrontation with the clones. Thankfully, they were able to turn the generator on, but one thing they noted from all of this is that these things have gotten smarter. This was a planned ambush. They realized not only were they being tactical, but remember how before they could barely finish a sentence, they could talk, but weren't that good at it. But as they were running back inside, this speech whizzed across the screen saying, "You've come outside. You think you're brave, don't you? We will rip you apart one by one, but not before we drive you insane with fear. Kill as many of us as you want. Your munitions will run out eventually. Your night hunter will need to sleep eventually. Your machines will malfunction eventually." What's crazy about this is while they're going back inside, they're hearing but also seeing the glowing eyes of the clones sitting on the hill watching them. And after, they really started reviewing what spy intel was, which were some disturbing images, and most importantly, the third one resembles the body of an arrow sniper. They also found out that Redmond bought another batch of cloning machines behind their back that they never knew about. And that's when it clicked within inside the engineer's mind that what Tavish said made sense in the heat of the moment, but now that he thinks about it, he thinks that Redmond was trying to clone a new generation of mercenaries. He thinks the strange drawings were designs of his plans for the future. And so after the engineer gives this theory to the others, but Tavish specifically isn't convinced by this. But either way, now resetting the cloning machines is their main priority, and the only one that knows where the original one is Dr. Ludwig. And so later that day, at noon, a sniper spotted a plane that came in their airspace that they normally would shoot down, but because circumstances have changed, they instead shoot out a distress flare to call for help. And so as they prepare for the night, getting rid of all the dead bodies and cleaning up, Engineer is convinced and peer pressured to do something crazy, which is contact Blue. But before this can happen, remember that plane that came earlier that they shot a distress signal out to actually was Blue's, and turns out they only seen 100 of them at that base, to where they think that they're plotting something against them, and that's why there's so many men there and all the other bases are empty. And even the CEO of Blue says, so that's where they were hiding all this time, huh? Base George. He even tells Blue Torch, they even shot at my little poor plane. They're taunting you. Let's invade at once. Now pay attention, because this part gets crazy. So the Blue engineer is talking to someone from Red, and they're saying, so you said the distress signal came from Base George. And the engineer's like, yeah, looks like they moved there without you. Y'all got in a fight or something? No. I don't understand why they left me behind. I mean, you were boarded up in the mine shaft, but it's strange how they didn't come looking. It must be getting pretty bad out there if he's contacting his sworn enemies for help. Dear God, protect them from those devils. They must have been cornered. Devils? Now bear with me, partner. You've seen something there. I knew that cloning technology would be a mistake. A dead man should stay dead, not come back the next day like nothing happened. We are nothing more than just flesh and artificial memories. A machine can't create a soul? Redmond was desperate to break the Gravel War stalemate and conquer these lands. He turned to dark arts seeking war-ending power, dooming his soul and sacrificing us like pawns. He got his wish, but he didn't get control over it. Now please, I need your medic. My eyes hurt. We're then left on a cliffhanger not knowing what happens next, and then there's episode 5 where Spy finally had respawned, and what he sees is just utter disgust. He's basically being spawn camped by the clones who eventually kill and eat him. This just shows how dangerous these mutations are. And then the words pop up, "Don't join Team Red," which if you rearrange the letters, it spells out demon. The next scene is a lot sadder as it focuses on Pyro and the sniper mourning their friends that are missing and the ones that didn't make it this far. But they were luckily able to salvage some souvenirs from their friends so that they never forget them. Meanwhile, the engineer is doing his own mourning. Ludwig, I'd do anything to have you on my side again. Spy. I can't imagine the betrayal you felt in your last moments. And that's when Michael, also known as Heavy, comes over and says, "Engineer, I made breakfast." "Engineer? You cry? What's wrong?" "My family is okay. Heavy will not tell others about crying. Del, men must stay strong for family. My mother and sisters, they count on Heavy too. And Heavy will not give up for their sake. You, little men, all of you are family to me. I fight to last breath. I fight even if bare hands, to protect you." My sweetheart, Daddy's gonna be strong for you. Thank you, Michael. In the next scene, now the men in the past are being sent a broadcast talking about how their memories work. And they say, our cloning machines clone us with specific memories from its database. F makes you forget everything other than predetermined memories, which are your boss, your enemy, your team, and your mission. Dr. Ludwig came up with an idea for us, keeping reminders. We all have our own ways, like scratching info on bottles, and on the other side of our guns, we write in our journals. I hide reminders in my blueprints. Keep plenty of reminders everywhere you can. I don't want you to stay as mindless, emotionless clones who do nothing but fight. It'll be hard to process things when you read your reminders. Don't forget your families. Don't forget who you truly are. Now, later that day, Red is getting low on ammunition and they start to tell the engineer about this. "Lad, bloody devils start bringing extra ammo with them. We only brought back what was loaded in their guns." We're out of fuel for Pyro and Heavy's fire, short on explosives, food and water running low. "I have no more big bullets for Slovenia. Slovenia is hungry and angry. Flares are getting low too, mate. If we run out, it'll be hard to see those spooks at night." "Listen, men, I have plan. You say you salvage ammo loaded in guns of evil men, yes? So, me and Del make new gun for this ammo we have, and new armor to protect life, yes? Del, evil men bring many empty guns. We recycle them from metal? Bloody brilliant, lad. We'll go collect the guns then. Mundy, I know you were going to sleep, lad, but we'll need you to cover us for an hour. What's an extra hour if I haven't slept for 2 days? I got your back, mate. We fight together, men. Let's show these bloody devils what men can do. In the next scene, Team Blue is out on a mission, and Scout is like, "Hold on, mates, there's another animal on the ground." This one's been shot too. Not a clean shot. Poor thing suffered. Conqueror, this is Recon 2. Found another animal. That's close to 100 animals so far. Is there some kind of disease in this forest? It's not a disease, mate. I checked. All of them were shot. Now, why would they shoot so many animals? To warn intruders? It's not something I'd expect from the Reds. Pal, if I want to warn an intruder, I'd stick a skull on a stick and leave it out here, not shoot up a whole forest. Come on, pal. These people lost it. Conqueror Squad, assume a defensive formation and possibly a signal jammer in your area. First, our radar stops working, and now the radio interface is back again. Who broke this stupid crap? All of a sudden, the soldiers end up coming to a stop because something's blocking the road. What the? Sniper, we need to move back now. I don't want to be here anymore.
Recon 2, where the freak have you been, pal? Investor told us to regroup hours ago.
You're out of formation, maggots. Retreat to me immediately. Forget the bloody formation. Sniper just got his throat split open. Recon 1 is dead too. There's a big...
That did not sound human at all.
Screams of a tank crew burning alive. You'll get used to it, maggot. All stations, weapons check. Be on the lookout for an ambush. Stay grouped together. It turns out what was blocking the road was a wall of flesh. A clear tactic they used to block off their path so they can be ambushed by no one other than the ghouls. What's important to notice is that during this whole ambush, this was all coordinated. There's self-harm bombers on foot, mutated snipers where he has all three of his different snipers. And so eventually, before they could lose their whole fleet, they head back into the tunnel. They take cover and of course retreat. Back at Team Red's base, there's a soldier trying to stay awake, and he ends up falling asleep while keeping watch, and a ghoul shows up. Now, it doesn't attack him, just strangely looks at his drink, and then leaves, once it notices the gun pointing at him. And it turns out this wasn't the first time that night that thing visited him, as he tells Pyro, "That tall, smiling smoke visited me again." And it's also important to note that one of the destroyers were keeping watch, and it seems like they've gotten way smarter, being able to outsmart these turrets now and sneak into the base. And Engineer, who's in the watchroom, doesn't have a clue about what's going on and is way too caught up in his guilt, and that's when he hears scurrying and footsteps in his room. Out that's not the only one that infiltrated the base. More clones of the spy started going crazy inside the base, and there were so many that they eventually used up all of their ammo, and outside they had to actually fight like whole gladiators in a coliseum. For a while it did seem like they were holding their own, but at some point they got pushed with their backs against the walls. The archers and the rest of the mutates had them cornered, and the scout standing on top of the hill stood over them saying, "We fulfilled our promises. Your men, munitions, machines, all gone. You will be ripped apart. Our final promise to you." And just when it seemed like all hope for them was gone, and their battle was finally lost, as Engineer looks up and says, "My merciful God, save us." A miracle only God can perform arrives on the hill to take out the monsters that were taking Red's lives. They get into a huge gunfight, but ultimately the blue team wins and has them retreat. And finally Red meets blue team, and Red's like, "You finally heard my calls, you came to save us." And basically blue's like, "Save you? We came to destroy you." Nah, I'm just playing. I knew I had to save you ladies when we saw these mutant maggots. Now obviously it took a little bit more than just that to convince Blue to team up or go help Red. It took nature itself showing them the way to Red's base, on top of the piles of bodies and how deadly and smart these mutants actually are. So now that they're working together, Blue set up a teleporter at their base and told them that they're getting a surprise, which was no one other than Dr. Ludwig. Now at the time, they don't know which Dr. Ludwig this is, and they're all happy. and no one knows and is oblivious to the storm that's awaiting them. In the next scene, it goes on to the spy's point of view, where he says, "Why do I feel so much pain in this dark void? On second thought, it's less painful than being torn apart by those monsters. I keep losing my fingers every time I live again. I already lost my entire right hand. Some of my teeth are made up entirely of flesh. If this keeps happening, I won't have feet to run with. I'll be stuck here forever." So he makes the plan to run to the teleporters. He makes sure that he doesn't forget. He keeps telling himself over and over again, run to the teleporters, don't forget, don't forget, don't forget. And the doors open. And we are left on a cliffhanger. In the next episode, it goes and shows what Redmond's been up to, and it turns out this is all going according to his plan. He knew Blue was gonna get involved, and the demons that he's working with are in on this as well. Now back to Spy. The door opens up and he sees all the dead bodies and everything. And that's when he starts to remember his old past self saying, "You need to run, you need to run." Right when the doors open, remember. And that's what he does. He eventually runs, but then gets shot down. And when they check his body, they find out that it's cold, and right before they devour it, they notice that the real Spy is on a teleporter and he gets away. Now, as he looks for a way out, he's looking for a disguise so that he can hide, and the others start trailing after him. And when they arrive finally into the room that he's in, he's not there, and they find a bogey on the ground, and that's when the demon gets super angry at the other Spy because he's the reason why he was able to camouflage and get away. So he completely shoots him down while Spy is sitting there on the ground, knowing that he's hidden. And when he tries to take advantage of this moment and put the demon down, he realizes that it's an undead being and incapacitates it for a while. And while he goes to the teleporter, someone else arrives on it and he gets super scared and almost gets caught. So then he finally leaves on one of the teleporters and notices when he goes to the other side that he has a clean shot to the other teleporter, but the problem is he notices and looks around that based off the bodies around it, it's being guarded and that others tried getting away but failed. And they don't call him a spy for no reason, because this is correct. He's shown an example right after this. So one of the ghouls go up to the machine and they instantly get judged by these mysterious beings that look you down and judge you to make sure that you're one of them. Or should I say, they are experiments. And then after he's accepted through to go to the teleporter, another man comes through, and this time it's actually an escapant just like the Spy. And so he tries going through the teleporter and is greeted by these same individuals to be judged. And he tries hiding his face. He tries looking like them, but no, that doesn't work. They let him go through, but right before he can hit the teleporter, they destroy him. These beings are known as executioners, and this lets Spy know that the only way to get past them is if he fools one of them. And this is how he gets through. He arrives, and he instantly gets judged. He makes sure that he's missing a limb or has some sort of defect on his body, and makes sure that he's not moving or reacting at all. And they finally let him go. But wait, before he can make the same mistake as the other guy, he remembers that he has to hit his signature emote before he goes. And this actually saves his life because he gets all the executioner's approval and goes through safely. In the next part, we see that the man versus machine missions are still going on all the way out in Cold Town, where you have to fight off machines that are AI powered, who luckily are given poor weapons so that you can actually fend yourself off from them. But this time, this isn't the regular survivors fighting them like in game. These are the clones, the ghouls, and they're going as hard as they can. And as the battle starts intensing up, a solar eclipse takes place. And still, the fight continues. These mutants are completely out of their minds smart, pulling off tactics that real players in-game would pull off. And it turns out the eclipse is what is making them stronger. Because as it's fading away, the robots start to realize that they're getting weaker. Now, while that's going on, one of Red Base's forts was actually completely destroyed by an ambush by no one other than the mutants, ripping everybody apart, and Pyro and Sniper being the only ones to escape with everyone dying. And basically they were able to escape because when all the explosions were going on, they escaped through the sewers. And here is where they found Blue Team, who took them under their wing and their headquarters, but also one of the spawn rooms, which isn't good because that's where all the mutants are spawn camping. Blue Tavish even says, "I swear to God, lads, I've seen a man with an owl's head peeking from behind the basement door and keeps whistling." And then we're brought over to another base where it's completely dark. There's only a couple men left, 2 snipers, a couple people and an engineer, and they're just basically waiting out their time, shooting their bullets until there's no more left, while the ghouls sit in the dark waiting for their time to finally feast. And they eventually start to get to talking about how the engineer can get away and they can cover him, essentially sacrificing themselves so that he gets away and lives another day. Meanwhile, the administrator and Miss Pauling, who are 2 characters who work for both sides, blue and red, which is why they wear purple because they're neutral, are planning ahead and having a serious conversation before everyone dies, as they're looking at every fort's cameras to see what they're gonna do next, as they're seeing some are offline and some are just barely coming out of these attacks with anyone left like them. Administrator even reveals that the guys protecting them are actually clones and they're becoming more aware of it, which is scary to her, and orders for them to be executed when they get out of here alive. That's when Miss Pauling says, "I understand the security risk, Helen, but they saved our lives. They're confused and terrified. Let's give them a chance." Pauling, not the right time for ethics and emotions. The risk is too great. Their awareness could make us lose everything. I'm just being grateful for them, Helen. That gratitude will quickly turn into regret when the world finds out about our cloning technology, all because you spared their life. Forget money in Australium. You have no idea how much forged documents, fake signatures, and bribes it takes to get a single machine. How many witnesses get killed for one machine? I know cloning's illegal, but since when did legality ever stop you? The administrator, although she does agree, she doesn't want these clones going back to their families and their families seeing clones of their family members. That would raise questions. Questions would raise deeper investigations from people we can't bribe or execute. Back at our main George Red Team base, after getting help from Team Blue in that war, things seem like they're getting better. Heavy even points out that Blue's food is more delicious than Red, and if you didn't know, this is an actual war tactic. To keep all of the soldiers feeling good and their morale up, they feed them better, which scientifically leads to whoever has the better food does the best in war. So anyways, next, Dr. Ludwig seems happy and he goes in to talk about the respawning experiment that he's been studying for years. It turns out he has a couple designs for a portable respawner. This will ultimately shorten the time of them coming back, then also prevent them from being spawn camped, because he's installing it to his medigun. And Heavy's like, "Oh, you made Heavy remember how he always gets lost in the maze of teleporters. These machines will help Heavy a lot." Now everyone's happy about this, but the problem is this will need a lot of energy to pull off. And basically they have to gather as much teleporters as they can. But that's not all, because Sniper has something he has to reveal to everybody that he's noticed for weeks. Some like Heavy, for example's memories are flawed. Remember how when they respawn they have reminders? Well, some of them are getting their reminders wrong, like how he calls his gun Vetlana instead of Sheila. He also noticed that Michael mixes his gun's names up, and the Michael he knows doesn't do that. So he has a theory that someone's messing with their reminders, either without knowing or on purpose to manipulate everyone. He also talks about everyone's ages being all wrong. How did everyone stay the same age for all these years and it's been over 20? He even said Engineer had a small tiny part of his beard that was gray that he one day noticed that it was covered up, as if he's trying to hide something, and that everyone here just seems suspicious and something's off. All of us haven't shown signs of aging, but you, Engineer, your clones died, but the real you has never died, huh? And that's when the Engineer starts to smile slowly. Took you a while to find out again, huh? It's always either you or a spy. Assassins do have a sharp eye for detail, huh? We've had this conversation before? We've been repeating it for more than a decade. You still surprise me with the new details you notice. Sometimes I leave clues, just to see how fast you catch on. It's fun to play hide and seek with you. Lad, why would you tinker with our reminders? Not all of them, Tavish. Only the ones about me not being a clone. Every time y'all realize I never died, You try to kick me out the team. You try to make me leave y'all behind and go to my family. Exactly, mate. You still have something none of us do. Don't bloody waste it. Dell, why you stay here? Go back to family. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You're all proving my point. It just ain't right to see your friends die and see them come back as these emotionless clones. This isn't natural. Y'all die, but I see the next day as if nothing happened. The clones look like you, sound like you, but they don't remember anything. I'm sorry for changing your reminders, but I had to. I can't allow you to force me to leave. I want to be there for you when you forget, to help remind you who you are. I don't want y'all to disappear. Spy even offered to give me a completely new identity and help me leave the country so that Redmond's hitman couldn't track me down for deserting. He wanted to sacrifice his own ticket out of here just to help me escape, yet I refused. I couldn't leave y'all behind. Dell, how long have we been dead? You and Dr. Ludwig died 16 years ago. You were testing out Dr. Kritz. The problem is, you had a defective grenade launcher from Manco. And the moment you pulled the trigger, all the grenades detonated inside the launcher, and I could hardly find your remains. Sniper, stay away from fights. You died about 12 years ago. And Heavy, 16. Your heart couldn't keep up with all the Uber charges. You got Ubered 20 times in 1 hour and your heart exploded. Shot right to your rib cage. What about Jeremy? Right after Dr. Ludwig and Tavish died, in his last days he used to run away in fear from the scout clones. What about Jane Doe, Soldier? Couldn't cope with losing you, Jeremy, and Dr. Ludwig. Pyro? I don't know. Pyro's been in Team Red before all of us. God knows how long. I can never tell if Pyro died or not. And now Dr. Ludwig and the others start to become more suspicious of Pyro as there's something he's not telling everyone else. Meanwhile, while this whole conversation was going on, Blue Team was eavesdropping, listening in this whole time. And Sniper looks in the distance and he sees one of the mutants, who is Scout, the original Scout, who he stares at for a while, but then nods his head smiling. There's alliances, and the truth still hasn't been uncovered yet. And that's all for now as the war continues. If you guys want to go check out the rest and see more updates, go check out their channel in the description down there below. Shout out to them. Don't forget to join my Discord server and recommend me any more AUs that you guys want me to check out, or in the comment section below. Love all you people. God bless. Peace. Here.